Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. We've got an unbelievable show for you. I'm Harvey Freed. To the right of me, Becky Alley.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Saturday, and I hope everyone is alive and well after our 48 hours of monsoon season here in Michigan that needs to get gone.
Yeah, it's definitely gone. We bring in this morning Alexis Carmona from
What's
Den
going on?
Realty.
Hey.
You're one of my faves. Becky said, hey, we're going to have Alexis come on. And I know I don't have to prepare as much, but sure enough, I have like a 5-page outline to talk about mortgages and real estate. You
I'm
got
always
tons of
prepared.
stats.
Yeah.
I'm always prepared.
Listen, it's never a bad conversation when Alexis is in the studio, so I was very excited to get her back in here. Broker owner of Den Real Estate, Den Group Real Estate,
Yeah,
right?
Den Real Estate
And she is absolutely amazing. So if you're listening, give us a call. There's nothing off topic with this person. We're going to hit you with the truth, right? And good vibes, energy, all the things.
Last night, really comes to life. My neighbor, Megan, and I treat her like my daughter. She's probably upset with me because I said, Meg, and after 10 years, I've never been in her house. Now, of course, my girlfriend's lived there longer. She's been in the house, and I checked out her house last night. She's going to do a home reconstruction. She's going to do a remodeling, adding 2 bedrooms, and we're going to do a deck consolidation. And it just brought me back, like doing all these numbers with somebody, it really brought me back to it's so important to really have the facts, the numbers, understanding, having professional real estate agents on your team to go over what value this is going to bring to your family.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I'm not sure she's going to do the project or not. She's going to kill me if she listens to the show
Uh-oh.
for even bringing it up. But, is she going to do the project? It's so important to have the knowledge of what's going on in that community. What are the houses going for and what are they going to be worth?
Did she do that? Did she get someone to help her out? I'll help her out.
Well, we're you know what? We realized that, hey, there's a lot of money to be spent. This project is almost double the cost. It's actually more than double the cost than it was going to be if she would have started the construction just 2 years ago.
Wow. But it's important too. How long is she going to stay there? Is this going to be functional for her? Is it more for her life? Does she really care about the price as much? Is it going to make her life easier?
Yeah. I mean, I just did a lot of construction on my house, and I'm enjoying my home. I know I'm not going to get the money back that I've invested in the house between the outside, the inside, but it's quality of life that I know I'm going to be there for a long time. And if something in my life changes where maybe I sell before I'm ready or before I'm even mentally even thinking about it, I'm fine with it because whoever gets my home after me, is going to get a beautiful home that's been detailed, curtailed
Taken
to like
care
what
of.
I'm doing. And you got to think about it like that. But someone doing exactly what I did this time, right now, so I started it a year ago, just got done. The landscapers even said that if you were to start this project right now, it would have been an extra $20,000 because that's how much the cost of materials have went up. And it goes to that topic of the people that are on the sidelines about, I don't know if I want to buy right now because the interest rates are higher. Okay, if you're waiting this time next year, it's going to probably cost you double because we're in an appreciating market because of the lack of inventory. So whatever you're not doing now, it's costing you double this time next year.
I think it's also important to just have a strategy. Everybody has like a strategy, right? And if you're shying away from the market because of the interest rates, it's like, do you want to be a homeowner? When do you want to be a homeowner?
Yeah.
Do you want to wait till next year? It might not be available to you in the same price point it is now, just like you guys are saying. I mean, how many people have a strategy for their fantasy football team? They
have more strategy
Yeah,
going
exactly.
on there than they do
So
for this
true.
home
Call
ownership
me,
thing.
call me, and we will strategize how to get you in a home.
Well, I like that a lot because I wanted to bring that conversation because now you're looking at a house at $250. It's your starter home. Maybe it has an unfinished basement. So maybe you're better off looking at the house for $300,000 because it has more amenities. It's checking more boxes for you. And I was going with this because of the cost of materials and labor nowadays. It just costs so much more money if you want to put in that bathroom. Again, I had that bathroom quote done too last week. I'm like, whoa, I thought it was going to be $7,000, $8,000, more like $12,000 to $15,000.
Yeah, I mean, you have to plan. You have to think ahead. And the ones that are hesitating over the interest rates, yes, they are higher than they were 3 years ago, but we're never going to see that. And we've talked about this time and time again. And it makes me laugh a little inside, right? When I'm hearing just blanket conversations of, well, I don't want to buy right now. And this isn't anyone that's specifically speaking to me, but just in general, because it is a topic because, people are hesitant over the interest rates, but yet they're playing double digits in credit cards.
Oh my
Revolving
gosh.
debt is the highest it's been in a really long time, like nationally speaking. And you have car loans. People don't hesitate about taking out an $800 a month
because
car loan.
They're not paying attention. I really don't think they're
Yeah.
paying attention to those credit card interest rates. They're just excited that they could get a credit card. They're getting all these pre-approvals. They go on their Credit Karma, they see their pre-approval. Oh, they're pre-approved for this specific credit card. It's like, okay, let's get it because that's a vacation. That's this. That's if I want to go on a shopping spree, at least I have it. They don't think, oh, this is a 28% interest rate.
Yeah. That's you're never going to pay off if you're making the minimum payments. And these are things that we strategize with you. We talk about it with you. It's not about just what's happening right now in your life, but where are you going to be in 5 years? And that's what's key. Because if you can afford $2,500 a month in rent, you can afford a $2,500 a month
I was just
house
gonna
payment.
go there.
For sure.
What else is going up? Rent rates. Rental is rent prices are going up. I just had a situation with one of my clients who amazing family who probably would still rent because they were a little shy to enter the market because they're like, wow, I need all this money for this, that, the other thing. And I said, listen, we're going to come up with a strategy. We're going to look in this specific area. It fits your budget. It fits what you're looking for. And it makes you happy. You like the area. Let's just take our time in there. We have time. You have your lease. Well, she went to go contact her leasing office and they told her, we're raising your rent. Because she's like, why is it my rent gets raised $100, every year versus somebody else for $50? And they said to her, it's because your unit's not a renovated unit and we want to get you out.
I mean,
Okay.
dang. I mean,
Because
just,
their rental, the people are in line for these rentals because, it's a little harder to get a house right now. So they're trying to rent, but rental rates are going up, just like interest rates. So which one would you rather have? Your money going to a rental for a year, 2 years, 3 years, or owning a home?
Own.
Possibly refinancing, having the equity, pulling things out, being able to pull money out of your own purchase, something you own, to go do things with your life, like renovate your home, go on vacation, buy certain things.
now let's break this down for a second. Let's and now I'm going to direct the conversation to someone that is afraid to purchase the home because maybe someone in their house or someone in their life had a foreclosure. And so they feel like maybe mentally they don't deserve home ownership, right? Let's talk about that.
Wow, that's deep generational trauma
For
right
sure,
there.
yes. And so, or in their mind, they feel like if it's not a $200,000 house, I don't want it, right? You have to get to that, like, what can you afford?
Yeah.
So I feel like in some situations where people are lifetime renters, right? Part of it is because they don't know what the steps are. They don't know the benefits of
Right.
home ownership. They don't know that you can get into a first-time home buyer program, and if money isn't saved because they were never shown how to financially handle their stuff, you don't have to have $20,000 to come to the
I
table.
just got a MSHDA deal accepted on a condo for one of an elderly client of mine who's on a limited income. And it's a perfect condo for her in this market. And she got full concessions. It's literally, like I said, it's about your strategy and who you're working with and the team of people. Just like you're going to sit there and last second research your fantasy football team, is going to take less time to give me a call and figure out how to buy a house.
Yeah. Well,
All
when
right.
you're dealing with Alexis, right, you're going to get the truth. Right? She's not going to sell you, and you're going to hear that difference in the conversation. You know when
Absolutely.
someone is soliciting you, and you know when someone is genuinely really just trying to educate you and help you, because there's no pressure when you're having a conversation with someone like Alexis and you feel that difference. You don't feel
Right.
like an icky,
Thank you.
oh, yes, but then you want to call them back and be like, no, I lied. I don't really want to do this.
I'll be straight up honest with you. If it's going to take you 6 months to become a homeowner because you have to save a certain amount in order to compete, I will tell you it's going to take 6 months, but I'm going to be with you during that 6 months, pumping you up, making sure you're on track. I'm a part of your team,
Yeah.
Hey,
You're
you got to
captain.
save money. You got to fix your credit up.
Right.
You got to get that whole thing going on so you're ready to go. 6 months isn't that far away.
It's really not.
Before you turn around, it's 6 months is up. The first half of this year, 2023, resilient sales. We were rocking and rolling, but it's slowing again just a little bit. And we see that the sales are down from last year, 16.6% from the same month. It was July's numbers that I'm giving you. So there's no doubt. Look, there's less sales out there, but the values have gone straight up. So maybe you're not selling a whole bunch of 300,000, but those homes now are 400, 450, and hard to get those
Yes.
offers accepted.
I agree. So even in my own personal sub, like their new construction condos, detached condos, when I purchased 3 years ago, these homes were for sale for $269,900. Now they're going for over $400,000.
Oh my!
But they're great, and the chances of you getting a beautiful new construction home right now, even under $400,000, is so rare and limited in certain areas. But this is a great area. So to me, I'm looking at this as a great thing for people who are buying. Like, buy now. It's just going to keep going up. Your values are just going up.
Yes.
Up, and up. That's what we're going to talk about. These rates have creeped up a little bit. We're going to talk about that. Maybe the average is a little bit over 7% on the 30 years. So, again, a little bit of mortgage talk, a lot about real estate. 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the show. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We are powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 2289, Equal Housing Lender. I'm Harvey Freed. She's Becky Alley.
Present.
Lexus Carmona.
Hello.
Den Real Estate Group out there and all around Southeast Michigan. She will drive anywhere to meet up with you. We're talking about
Really?
plans and stuff. And I love when we start talking about other things that really have to do with everyday life, like renegotiations, sending back your food at the dinner table, and being that difficult
I don't have a
person,
backbone
all,
yet.
all that fun stuff, and talking about fun. A lot of great things happening. Of course, if you still have 97-1 on from last night, Tigers with the walk-off home run. We love that. Good job, Parker Meadows. He's showing up, and we've got a whole bunch of other exciting things. The Lions are exciting here. We got Michigan football coming up. Just the whole thing with sports, and we got Arts, Eats, and Beats even next weekend here, which is a lot of fun. Woodward Dream Crows last week. I always tell people this is the place to live. My buddy's coming back from California Sunday. He misses it.
Really?
It's just like the best place all around to live. Of course, you got to like the Four Seasons here, Becky.
I like the Four Seasons because I like to snowboard. And I understand that some people don't really care for the winter, but my life changed when I started to not fight the snow, but enjoy the snow.
Enjoy the snow.
And it's beautiful. I mean, on a winter, you're just sitting there watching the snow. I love me a good snowfall on a Sunday because I don't have to be anywhere.
Yep.
That's always cool, but it's nice to take a break because the same people that are complaining about the heat are going to be the same people that complain about the snow. You can't make everyone happy, but I love the fact that we do get a little bit of everything.
Agreed.
And you can handle it.
All right, we got some new inventory coming up. I've spoke to a couple agents. I heard that there's a few extra contracts signed. I spoke to an agent yesterday. He said, Harvey, I've got 2 listings coming to the market. Is this fall of 2023 going to present a few more options for families out there? Look, they are already struggling with a little bit higher interest rate, but we got to go buy now because it's not going to be less expensive come next year.
I love the fall personally as a buyer's agent when I'm representing buyers because yeah, you do get an upswing in some inventory in some areas, but I feel like the fall is the start of holiday season and people tend to get a little hibernate, especially in Michigan because of the 4 seasons. They're like paying attention to all the holidays coming up. So for my buyers, I'm like, hey, now's our chance to strike. Everybody's kind of busy. So, or they're putting their funds somewhere else to Christmas or to the Halloween or vacation because they want to avoid the snow. There you have the snow haters. I love the snow. I hike in the snow,
Yeah.
But for me, as a buyer's agent during that time, I love it because we could strike against, there's less buyers maybe competing against certain houses. And we have really great houses coming onto the market. I do see an influx right before school starts. Everyone's like, we got to get it done. We got to get it done.
Yep.
And even just shortly after school starts, people are like still in that mindset of, I want to move, even if my kid has to go to school in a month at a different school.
Even you guys talk about it. No, like the houses that I bought, I've always bought in the fall. Like
I
I
might
bought 2
list my
houses
house
in my
in the
life,
fall.
and I bought them both around September, October. And it was great.
Yeah.
And talking about like it's like I bought a house about three, going on 4 years ago, but now in my same sub, like they're going $200,000 more.
Jeez.
And so you think about that. Like I got in really good,
Really
fine,
good.
right? And then I was able to take advantage of the lower interest rates. So when I bought in 2018, then I renovated the house, all that jazz. The rate at that point in time was 4.875. So you're talking in 2018. That's what I had personally. That was the best you could get at that time, whatever was happening. And then you fast forward 2 years later and the rates fell through the floor. So I was able to take advantage of that and refinance my home. So the story that we're painting for you is that, and when I bought my first house, my first interest rate was 6.5, I think maybe 6.25, which is equivalent to pretty close to where they're at right now. Then a few years later, a refinance boom opened up and I was able to reduce the interest rate and save myself the money, but the equity was always still there. So the point is that if you get in and you have a house that you can afford right now, even with these higher rates, we're in a cycle. Like you said, it's cyclical.
Yep.
When that rate comes down, not only do you have a house that you love, you didn't have to overpay for it because the higher interest rates, believe it or not, have really been your friend because when these rates come down, you're going to have an even bigger influx of people that are going to try to buy with the same lack of inventory that everyone's fighting over.
Boy, the demand's going to be nuts.
Choose your hard, choose your hard. Would you rather be in a rental that the rates increase on you every year and you have to renew and you're not getting a renovated unit, or do you want to buy a home and have equity? So choose your hard. That's what I always say to my clients. Whatever, you want to be a homeowner, let's strategize. Let's put it into action.
I love the strategy, putting a plan together. Having the best business plan is always key here. Stop clicking buttons. I keep telling folks, stop clicking buttons. Likely you'll be working with a new agent with maybe no skill sets. What do? They forecast, they breaking down the property, discussing amenities, future costs involved. Listen to all these things I wrote down. Have you been told to seek for more information? Go down to the city and find out if anyone pulled the permits on something. If it looks like there was an addition, a fence that looks a little funky, something, maybe the driveway looks like it encroaches maybe to a neighbor. You can find out more information. The last buyers I spoke with, I said, oh, great, you're going to do the inspection next week and everything. I go, just curious on that older house, your first-time home buyer, how old was the furnace? Couldn't answer the question. I said, how old's the hot water heater? How did the roof look? He didn't have enough knowledge. So I said to him, well, who are you looking at the house with? What are you guys talking about? I mean, you walk into the house, let's start talking about the house, and what's going on in there, because at the end of the day, you got some value there. We're talking about the cost of fixing up a house. Could get a little expensive. Put that plan together.
I think a good plan is key. And those are simple things, Harvey. I've even learned just from basic inspections. Let's take a look at the serial number. We can Google these things.
Right.
It's so simple
Look
to
at
figure
you.
out the age of things.
Googling and things.
Googling and things. It works.
Yeah.
Sometimes those things even have a warranty on them and no one even knows.
So I always talk about real life things. Sure enough, yeah, we keep running into it. The sewer lines are still a problem here in Southeast Michigan. If you're buying an older house, you got to probably do the sewer line inspection and find out what's going on there. Show your expertise. Go to a house, and when you're with your agent, it really separates everyone right there. I can walk up to the front door with an agent, and I can just hear whatever's coming out of their mouth. If they're not talking about anything, it's a little scary to me. And again, everyone's got a different approach, but to me, it's knowledge, it's information, it's the data. It's putting that excellent plan together so that you can call us, Becky, and do your debt consolidation loan a few years later.
That, yes. And even right now, after all the rain that we had, if you're looking at houses right now, this is the time so that you know what you're dealing with these houses. Did they have backup in the sewer lines, and now they have water in the basement? I mean, there's a lot of that's happening right now. And I was actually talking to a real estate agent. So she's in an a condo complex, and she just cleaned out her sewer line. She said just last week, she was the only person in her condo complex
Nice.
that did not have water in her basement.
Wow. Talk
As
about the
simple as
perfect
that.
timing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like those little things and people don't think about looking at the sewer lines. But if your agent is the one that's kind of, hey, maybe we should do this, do a sewer scope. That is a life-changing thing, because once you
Super
own that
important.
home, it is yours. And if you choose to waive that home inspection,
Don't
you're
do
setting
it.
yourself for failure.
I just wouldn't do it. I tell a lot of my clients, all of my clients, I say, look, the sewer line, we cannot physically see the sewer line. The inspector can climb in the attic. That's fine. But can a inspector climb in the sewer line? No, but we have things called cameras. So you can pay to find out what that is, because you never know. You don't want to move in and in 6 months, boom, your sewer line's backed up. What's super cool is most homeowners insurance policies, you can add an insurance coverage on your sewer line for like $6 extra. It's
Yes.
crazy. I tell all my clients about it. They don't even know.
I'm glad you brought that up. We actually threw it out there on the podcast. We started talking about, we're going to go to Frank's call here in a minute. We talked about some flood insurance last week, or this past week on the radio show. Again, in order to get flood insurance, you have to be in a flood zone, and that's determined by FEMA. The Federal Emergency Management Association. So they handle they handle all of that. And of course, we already got our hands full as they're going to be cleaning up Maui. Of course, that horrible fire, just devastating, and the cost to do all that thing. But you don't know about your insurance until you need to know about it. And you really, folks, this rain, probably right. Take a look at calling your insurance company. See, was there something that the rain caused some damage? We just put a new roof on the house. So sure enough, we're doing some home improvements and stuff. We're looking around, and the house was really good, but sort of where this one thing in the garage meets, there's a little bit of water there, and we might need to put some extra, whatever it might be, some protection in this little spot. But Becky, boy, if you're buying a house, a rainstorm like we've had, all this rain shows a lot. It shows a lot about the grading. It shows a lot about potential problems that you might have on a house.
Yeah, I mean, it's you can't hide it. Water is going to find a way wherever it's going to find a way, especially here in Michigan.
You
And
really can't hide it.
no, you cannot. And it's going to come out, right? What you do in private is going to come out in public. And the same with on that seller disclosure. If someone is saying they didn't have any water in there, but then they did, maybe they didn't know, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of that stuff that happens, but this is the time to go look at houses so that way you know exactly what you're getting for your money.
my favorite time.
What is the expense to fix these things? Is waterproofing, needed? Sump pump? Do you need that backup battery? Do the things, because like you said, if you don't do your due diligence now, once it happens, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Agreed. Tree roots, all of that. Your drain tile system, important. If your realtor's not walking around the house with you saying, let's check out the grading, let's figure out what type of drain tile system this is, let's dig deeper, let's go get a look at this sewer scope, call me.
Yeah. I mean, so when what day was it? 2 days ago that the rain happened, whatever. So like right before the tornado siren
Monsoon?
started. Monsoon. Yeah. Right before the tornado siren started going off, I was like, oh, I didn't get my patio cushions. So I went out there to grab them. And next thing I know, it happened. Now I'm like soaking wet within 30 seconds. But as I'm running to get my patio cushions into my garage, I'm noticing, I'm like, dang. my gutter in this
Oh,
one
yeah,
corner
you saw it.
is a little bit like, or it was like the pop-up drain was not exactly popping up as it should. So I was like, dang, I got to get those cleaned out. But
Yep.
if I wasn't out there running around like a crazy person in the monsoon, I wouldn't have saw that. So you need to be paying attention, have people, and if you're not thinking about it, hire the people that can do that for you.
All right, successful home ownership is what we're all about. 248-539-9797. We come back, we'll talk some more programs and a little bit more of what's going on here locally. Keep it on 97.1 The Ticket. We'll be right back. Alrighty, welcome back to the show. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Again, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. You can find us at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. We always answer your questions here. If you want to, you got us a ticket text here, and we might even read that ticket text, but we'll take all your calls again. 248-539-9797. Alexis Carmona joins us.
Nope.
Behind the scenes, we're always talking about what's going on in mortgages and real estate. As these mortgage rates tick up, so does the inventory. It happened last year.
Yep.
Historically, it's always happened, and we're feeling a little bit of it now. They ticked up a little last week, and the stats showed Again, not crazy amount of inventory, but a little bit more inventory out there. And if you stay in the game, Alexis, because you got to stay in the game and you got a great team and you got a great plan.
Don't ride the bench right now.
Don't ride it
Yes,
now. Now's
don't
the time.
Don't play left out.
Becky, can I call
me
it
in,
September
Coach.
already? Again, I mean, next week's an important week, but there's still another week in August. But between now and Christmas time is when you steal a house.
I think so. I actually, I know so. I do it every year with my clients. I do it every year. The people that are really having a hard time in the summertime trying to compete in crazy markets like Troy or Rochester schools, places like that, we always take another peek towards the holidays because people are putting their money somewhere else. And then you have all these people that want to sell their house before the tax year's up
Yep.
or before the winter time, just financially savvy people that say, okay, you know what? I could probably get way more for my house now, even though the rates are a little high. I can still get a little bit more for my house historically than maybe in the spring.
Well, you also have a lot of people too that are retaining their properties for two reasons, right? So one of them is, well, I have this interest rate. I feel like I have to be married to this house to the end of time because I got this interest rate that I'm never going to get ever again. Well, if the house no longer meets your needs and it's no longer suiting your
You're
lifestyle,
sacrificing.
who cares? If you overbought because the idea of the lower rate allowed you to get more of a house, but now you have these $10,000 taxes that you can now no longer afford the payment. Who cares what your interest rate is, right? It doesn't matter. And then at the same time, you can also take that lower interest rate if you've already fulfilled your 1 year obligation. Let's say you're a first time home buyer and now you have this and it's a primary home. You can now keep that property, retain it, and then use it to build your real estate portfolio. I mean, there's a million different ways that we can strategize for somebody to realize. Yeah, strategize. That's the word today. I also wanted to bring up with you new construction.
I love new
Okay, let's
construction.
go to that.
So we talked about this on the podcast, how, and me and you briefly talked about
did.
this, how right now the average square footage of built homes is around 2,200 square feet, which is like $500 less than it was in 2014, 2015. So it's like right there on paper that these builders are understanding that the McMansions, as Harvey likes to say, is no longer on the table. People are wanting a little
don't
bit more.
want 'em.
Yeah.
They don't want them as much. And what you do see, kind of what we talked about, Becky, the other day, some of these houses, they're in these HOAs, those McMansions. A lot of people are kind of shying away from those HOAs right now. They want to have that little bit of freedom in that land. I love selling land. I love selling the dream for people to one day build their dream home without an HOA, without rules. Go ahead, put your fence. Do those things. That I would say right now, if you could, pick up some land for the future, because like I said, people are going to start to build more homes. Development is going to probably rise here. Hopefully, we do need houses to be built, but I'm hoping that builders are going to build what we need, not just McMansions that are unaffordable for the average person who was born in 1992, to 1995. Like our generation is struggling. And there's more of us. There's more people being born, and we have like less and less houses. So
A lot of the building permits were attached housing, right? Multifamily units and things of that nature. Builders can make a lot of money on
Yep,
those. Less
exactly.
expensive, easier to pull the permits and build more units. But single family, right? If it's a single lot out there, really exciting for families. Talk a little bit about the HOAs in there, because they do in these gorgeous subdivisions, homeowners associations, at least they can keep some sort of sanity going on in there.
absolutely.
I like the rules a little bit,
I'm not negative against HOAs, but there are some things like in condos a lot of people have a hard time with. Like for me, I got a letter from my bird,
Uh-oh. Yeah,
my
what'd you do
bird
wrong?
feeder. I had a bird feeder, but I just had it in like just outside of my little gardenscape. So I got slap on the wrist, had to get it down. But now I don't get to watch my birds as much. I'm an old lady inside.
I got into bird watching we got into bird watching during COVID, but I sought out opposite of HOA because I didn't want someone to say like I could only have a wrought iron, like the iron
Right.
gate. Yep. Instead of just a normal privacy fence if I wanted that. And you're right, those little itty bitty details, even like your cute little bird feeder for all the little, like the cute little cardinal and the
Yeah.
sparrows, and you can't even have that. So,
The little gold
and if you're
finches.
buying a condo specifically, you have to get with someone that's going to help you read those bylaws, because
Bylaws are so important. You have so many underlying factors and rules and rights actually as a buyer upon the sale of condos to request certain things in writing from the HOA before you purchase something. There's so many people that say, oh yeah, we bought this and we just didn't really know. what was going on with the HOA. And it's like, where's your realtor?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to dig into that. Again, let's talk about pets a little bit on that because, again, a lot of families have pets. And again, there's rules about the size of the animals that you would have, the number of animals you would have. So all these things to consider. And again, professional agents sound completely different than when someone calls me and I can tell that they're newer to the industry. And again, we're not knocking if you're newer, get more professional people, have that coaching,
Get a
have that
mentor.
training, get a mentor in your life. And it just makes your life that much more
Condos
easy.
are a different
They sound
animal.
Great. Yeah.
Like condos are a completely different animal. And if you are specifically looking for condos, they are
Mm-hmm.
sparse right now, even more so than single family homes, but it affects your affordability. You have, how much is the association?
Is it warrantable?
Yeah, is it warrantable? And the other thing is too, you could buy the condo now, okay, and have a, let's just say $250 association dues, and then
that'll
and then all of a
change.
sudden they have to do roof or road maintenance, and now there's a special assessment. So now that $250 association maybe 5 years from now could be $500, and now you can't afford that because the taxes and insurance are changing. So there's a lot that goes into condos other than just I want a condo so I don't have to do my own snow and cut my own grass. There's just a
Absolutely.
lot more that goes into that.
Now, let's just say HOA outside of condos in a subdivision, detached homes. Some of them are awesome because you might have that one neighbor who just doesn't care about their lawn or doesn't care about certain things that they have hanging out around their home. And the HOA will crack down and make sure you don't have those types of neighbors who are not keeping up with their property, bringing down your property values and stuff. So HOAs are important in some instances, and in others, they're a little bit of a headache. It just depends on where you want to land.
Yeah, you can't drive up with your boat. You got a 30-foot boat
Right.
and you're leaving it there on the driveway. It's a little bit of an eyesore.
Living in
and
your
I love
RV
boats.
out of your driveway. I love
Can't
it.
have the
Yeah.
RV and the cousins pull up and then the RV's there for a couple months. You're
I
like,
grew up like where we couldn't even you could not pull up on the driveway if you're going to block the sidewalk.
So you
And
can't do that.
You can't do that. Nope. So it's about taking pride.
Pride.
Pride
Absolutely.
is all about everything. Whether you have an HOA or not, you have to be the one that's going to decide if you're going to take pride in that home ownership, in the property, in the grass, in the landscaping. And some people do and some people don't, but it's all about kind of that collaborative neighborhood, and be that neighbor and be like, hey, I'll cut your grass for you.
But wouldn't you be happy if you bought something that you knew someone had pride of ownership in? How many times, you guys have gone in homes, you've bought homes. So how many times have you gone to a home and you said, wow, this person really took care of this home. It's the same price as the one down the street that no one really took care of.
exactly.
Same price. But who wouldn't want a way more solid home, even if, let's just say, it was cosmetically outdated?
Yeah, it's about the bones.
It's about the bones. It's about
the
this
bones.
person went out every year and checked their grading every year. This person checked their gutters every year. They checked their HVAC system. They paid attention to their roof. They did all of that stuff.
Yep.
Their Formica looks awesome.
Yeah. But that's what we're looking for, right? We looked for someone that took care of their home, and we bought it from an older family, and literally everything was brand new. All the big ticket items were done. Now the inside, the cosmetic stuff,
Canvas.
I wasn't for the popcorn ceiling, but I could remove that. That's fine. But all the big ticket, like the roof, the fence, the all the utilities, well-maintained, waterproof basement. It was everything that you're looking for, because you can always slap some paint on the wall, but it's
Absolutely.
harder to fix the other things.
Knock a
All right,
wall down.
annual home price has definitely been appreciating. We're going to see an appreciation from 22 to 23. Again, we still got another 4 months or so, but probably in Southeast Michigan, it appears 5 to 10% price increase from last year. Just what we're feeling right here in
And
the
it's
in
even
our
if you're
own
being
backyard.
conservative.
Yeah, there's some other areas,
I would
right?
say, yeah, because that's like the average. If you go more just specific cities, they're a little higher than that.
A lot of equity there again. So I see some folks out there starting to really push the debt consolidation loans. Look, there's no doubt debt consolidation is going to help a lot of families. Becky, we talk about the savings. Get off of that 2.75. Get off of that 3.5, that 4% interest rate. If you're paying 20% and 18% on all these other things, do the math, do the numbers, because the math don't lie. And we're going to talk about probably in the next segment a little bit, coming up with some additional monies and how your 401k can definitely help you with the down payment. And Becky, now that we're on that down payment, getting into a house at 3%, 3.5% FHA, again, as we talk to reaching out to more first-time home buyers, it's extremely affordable, folks. There's so many programs that can help you get into that house.
So many programs to the point that I could not list them all right now, but more so than ever, there is more specific first-time home buyer incentives. And even if you're a repeat buyer incentives, because they're understanding that people are coming from the outside in, because Michigan is still very affordable. So they're trying to make sure that the ones that are renting, you do take advantage of these incentive programs to get into your home. The most important one, or the biggest, most popular one is MSHDA, where you can get $10,000 to go towards your home, and they've changed it to where it's just household income. So your spouse could be not a first-time home buyer. You still could qualify for this loan. So you don't know what you don't know, but it all starts with the conversation.
All right,
Strategy.
Up against a quick break here. Keep it on 97.1 The Ticket. Give us a call, 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. Alrighty, we are back. Let's pump it up here in Detroit. That's right. We got some baseball. We had some football. We got tons of football coming up. Keep it here, obviously, on the sports station. They're going to go over all the details with you, and we're just going to give you mortgage and real estate talk. That's right. Harvey Freed, Becky Alley, Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Let's break it all down for you. We're all about the numbers, showing you how you can get into a house. Alexis Carmona, she'll show you that great house. And we touched on it. We talk about it all the time, having that professional team together. You're walking around the house. The stuff that you say is what I want to hear. You walking up to a house, you're like, wow, you're checking out some downspouts. Becky's looking at her own property.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God.
You saw an issue. We saw an issue. Right. Housing, can get a little funky. Right. We've got 4 seasons kicking on here. There's mold issues. There's a lot of things, a lot of functionality of any home. And if you just stay on top of it, you don't have to have a money pit. Because if you buy the wrong house and you don't do the proper investigation, you don't have the right plan, home ownership isn't probably for you. So it's really imperative that you get the right people involved.
So imperative, especially there's a lot more investors that are hitting the market too throughout the past 10 years. And they do these flips and they look awesome, right? They look great. But So many people, even with new construction, they waive their inspections. They see it's a flip, so they waive their inspection. They want to beat out the other buyers, but then they get in it and they're like, "Gosh, this was this person's first flip. They just had really nice granite countertops, or they bought a really good sink, or they put that white backsplash in there, and now my basement's flooding." It's like, well, did you get a sewer scope? Did you waive your inspection? What did you not do that could have saved you some time, money?
You buy the house that was McGrubered.
Literally. It might, and honestly, it might even look really good. And that's the thing. A trained eye and a trained professional will tell you, yeah, this looks really good, but we need to see the interior. We need to see, did they do the right plumbing? Did they do things correctly?
Mm-hmm. Because once you own that house, it is yours. And if you don't do your due diligence, if you're not, looking under the hood per se, you're going to get, it's going to come out in the first rainfall. And like we had so much rain, even more so, right? We don't get the rain like we had over the last 2 days, like we normally, like that's not a normal thing. However, that is going to show and expose any and all problems on any property. If there is any, they found them really quick.
I think they found that problem at the airport. There's a little bit of a problem
there,
right?
Airport,
even the airport, pretty big building, right?
Yeah.
Pretty important stuff. And sure enough, they had this major flood down there and no one could even get to the terminals.
It's wild. I had a buyer recently, and we just went right in time. And she's an older lady who this is probably going to be her last home purchase. It's really important. It's a condo, and obviously we're looking through the bylaws and everything. But I had an indication that there might have been like water down there, and lo and behold, we get downstairs. It's raining, and there's just a couple little water stains. Not really puddling, but water stains. So luckily for us, we were in our inspection period. We still were able to move forward with this property because we determined that the association would be responsible for certain things, including if this is a sewer drain back up from the exterior.
Because, is that what it was?
Yeah. So that's what we concluded through the inspection. So my client said it doesn't seem to be a big problem. We'll fix the grading. We'll keep the sewer's right outside of her condo. She's going to keep her eye on it. And now we know how to move forward. But could you imagine if it wasn't raining this week? She wouldn't have known. We never would have investigated. We would have never asked certain questions. We would have never found out certain things if we didn't see that specific little water stain this week.
That's even specific, like what I was talking about earlier in the show, where she cleaned out her sewer lines, but she's a part of a condo, and it's the same thing because the condo is a part of that, and they didn't clean out their lines, but she took it upon herself to do her own outside of the association, because you're still on part, it's like walls in, and so you can push that on the condo association per se, but it's still your home on the inside. So take the time, even if it is costing you a little bit more money, to do those things, because you won't regret it.
No, you won't. You'll save so much time.
Many listeners will be tapping into the equity. There's no doubt about it. We see the reports all over. The cost of living has gone way up. We're tapping in to our savings a little bit more and more. And again, some families even might look at their 401k. Use it in a positive way. Years ago, we had all the financial advisors saying, look, you never want to touch your 401k. But in today's marketplace, the home values have been going up even higher than sort of your investments in your 401k, and you can pay yourself back into that 401k. So again, Becky, having more smart people putting together the numbers and figuring out a plan for you. How can you tap in to something that might help you? The 401k might be a way to get you into that house.
Teach me.
Yes.
Teach me, Becky.
The 401k is an amazing asset, and it's there too. You're putting into it. You're not thinking about it. And if you pull out of that 401k, that any of that money is unrealized until you take it at a loss or you take it at a gain, whatever it's going to be. So if you're not having your money in your liquid accounts, like you're checking your savings, the 401k is a perfect vehicle for you to get to where you're going to buy that house, and you can pay yourself back, and you're not going to take those penalties. Correct.
Exactly. There's no penalties for first-time home buyers for sure on most of these. Check with the consultant, find out how much money you have in your 401k, what money can you access, and how you can pay it back out of your paycheck each month as your home values go up and up, and you're not throwing your money away renting a home.
And there's also a lot of people, even despite what the interest rates are at, they are taking advantage of the equity in their home to leverage and fix ourselves in debt. There's a lot of individuals out there that are hesitant, but the ones that are not hesitant, you have a conversation. We figured out if it makes sense for you. But I'm saving someone even this month $500 a month. They were at a 3.875 rate. They got a little bit out of control with their credit cards. We looked at the home equity line rate. We looked at what a cash out refinance rate. We looked at what the payment would be between a second and the primary home. And in reality, doing a straight up cash out refinance, even at the higher rate, collectively was saving them $500 a month. Now they're going to take that $500, apply it towards the principal. And when these rates come down again, we're going to be in a position to leverage them to be debt free and have a lower payment in the next couple of years when this rates comes down. It's a no brainer.
You got to be careful. That HELOC, the home equity loan's a lien against your property.
Yeah.
You run into problems on those debts. Now you could have a foreclosure creeping up on you. And just some bad things can happen if you've not disciplined enough to figure it all out and how your debt to income ratio falls within
HELOCs
your
right
lifestyle.
now are double digits, and people
I
don't
couldn't
realize
believe
that.
it. I
They
know,
are
I-
legit double digits.
Yeah.
And some of them you're going to get in trouble because that first couple of years of your HELOC payment can be interest only. So here you are, you're taking out this $30,000 home equity line of credit. You're only paying $100 a month. You're thinking you're living your best life.
Right.
And now you are in a position where you have a first and a second on your mortgage, and you're going to have to blend those two together. Or when that payment is no longer interest only, you have a $500 a month more mortgage between the two, and now you can't afford it. So you got to make sure that you are looking down the road, raise your gaze, and don't get yourself in financial trouble, because a home equity line of credit is not always the best way.
Right. And you know what's funny? We were just discussing debt. Just the word debt. I think people are just so afraid of that word. I think that when they hear debt consolidation, they're like, but I don't have a problem. Why do I need to consolidate my
It's like
debt?
it's like an A meaning.
And it's just like, no, these are financially savvy tools that you can use to be smart with your money and invest and be ahead of the curve. And it's all about education. It's all about talking to Becky. It's all about talking to Harvey. They'll teach you.
Yes, it's not using your home as a piggy bank, because then you're going to be on this constant hamster wheel. But at the same time, it is there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Your home is a tangible asset that is been appreciating. Even historically speaking, even like 12 years ago when the market was the worst it's ever been, if you held onto those properties, you now are back in the black. So over time, the real estate is the champ. There's equity. We're in an appreciating market, and we're going to be in an appreciating market for some time because we're in a housing crisis. There's just not enough equity. So if you have a home, you're winning right now.
That's why I'm saying choose your hard. Why wait till next year? Who knows what's going to happen? I would say become a homeowner. You have that asset. It's a tangible asset. Why shy away from a tangible asset? Buy land, even if you don't know what you want to do with it. In the future, you could give it to your kid. I bet you. I would love that.
Yeah, a really good friend of mine, she's specifically looking for land right now. The right one, the right kind of land popping up, because she understands. She's like, I don't care if I put a trailer on that thing. I just want a piece of pie because they're not making more of it.
There you go.
It's
That's
becoming
the
more
one
affordable.
thing you can't. Yeah, they're not making more of it.
It is what it is. And some of these, especially if you're going up north, because here in Michigan, we are so fortunate. You go up a couple hours and you're looking, it's like you're in a different world. And some of these properties are harder to get because they're being passed from family member to family member, right? It's generational because someone took advantage of it. They understand the value. Now the kids are wanting it. It's just going on and on and on. So that's why it's getting harder to get these properties up north. But if you talk to someone that's not in Michigan, their hair blows back if someone's from New York or even Charleston and you tell them you can get lakefront property for under $1 million.
Oh, yeah. They're rushing here.
Oh, yeah. People are coming from, because they understand New York, Chicago, they're coming to Michigan, people. So if you're so inclined and you can afford it, understand that people from the outside realize what we have here in
Right.
Michigan, and they're coming to take it from us.
We just got to step back, look at the bigger picture, and realize what type of gold we have over here in Michigan.
We got some gold. Rising interest rates have cost a typical home buyer a lot of power, a lot of buying power. These rates keep creeping up. So I did some numbers on it, and I was able to dig up. At the end of 2021, a home buyer monthly mortgage budget of $2,500 could afford a $517,000 house. That's right, folks. Your housing budget, $2,500. You're buying over $500,000. Now that's creeped down to about $399 now. So somewhere about $120,000. Really, if you look at the numbers, just in 2 years. So from 2021 to 2023, your buying power is down about $120,000. Re-engage with your loan officer. Re-engage with your lending partners. And again, put that great plan together. Becky, only a couple more minutes if we want to dive into a couple other topics. There's so many great opportunities here. Let's just talk about the minimum down programs real quick.
Okay, so you have first-time home buyers. Most of the first-time home buyer programs, you need a minimum of a 1% investment. So if you're buying a $100,000 house, at minimum, you have to have $1,000. You can get up to $10,000 through the Michigan or the MISDA program. We also have city-specific ones. So if you live in Detroit and you want to buy in Detroit, $25,000 is still available. When that money is gone, it's gone. So you either take advantage of it or you don't. There's specific to Westland, Livonia. We also have programs where you can get up to a 5% down payment. So if you're, again, for easy math, buying a $100,000 house, we can give you $5,000 towards your closing costs and prepaids, and you do not have to have a first-time home buyer. There's also grant programs we have available up to $7,000. You only have one person has to be a first-time home buyer, so mom and dad can go on the loan with you, be a non-occupying cosigner. You can get $7,000. So there's a million different ways that we can help you get to where you're going, but it's specific to you. You can't go by what someone else did a couple years ago. There's so many programs out there, but someone else's vehicle is, or someone else's GPS is not going to get you where you're going.
Now, could you debunk a couple things for some people too?
Yeah.
Because they think that if they take out certain programs or certain, money that's available to them right now, that they're going to be stuck somewhere for so many years, or they're going to have to repay certain amounts of this or that, or they just don't really know that what the program entails.
Right. So the behind the scenes is the city-specific ones, those are grants. You do not have to pay those back. The conventional ones that we have, those are grants. We are literally giving you $7,000 to better yourself and get you in the right position. Now, the Michigan Housing Development Authority, that is a $10,000 grant that you do have to pay back if you sell or refinance. So as long as you live in that home and is your occupying house, you never see that $10,000. You never think about it.
Right.
But if you do sell, or if you do decide to make that into an investment property, you do have to pay back that $10,000. But at the end of the day, at that point in time, you're going to have the equity. So the $10,000 that you save right now, you would have to pay that back later on.
I'm glad you brought that up. MISDA loan, Michigan State Housing Development Authority. That rate now 6 7/8. If you take the $10,000, as Becky mentioned, you're going to have to pay that back. If you refinance or sell in the future, that's okay. You're going to have a ton of equity.
Yes.
You're going to be refinance your house to a lower interest rate and getting rid of either the MIP or PMI. You're paying that mortgage insurance that you're paying on
And
it.
you're a homeowner. Hello.
Yeah.
Wow. Get to pick your own colors out.
I
Have as many
love it.
pets as you want in your
Paint
backyard.
whatever you want.
All that good stuff. All right, that music guy says, we're done. We got Pat Caputo. He's coming up with sports next. Alexis Carmona, Den Realty. Always great to have you in the
Thank
studio.
you, Harvey.
All right, we'll catch you guys. Actually, we're going to take the weekend off. Happy Labor Day next weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully we see y'all at the Arts, Eats, and Beats. There's a lot of concerts out there, a lot of fun things happening in Southeast Michigan. I'm going down to the ball game on Tuesday.
I'm going to eat.
You're going to eat a whole bunch of food. All right, we will see you guys in a couple of weeks here. Be sure to call us at Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Enjoy the weekend.